I used to go to church a little bit when I was young with my grandfather who's English, step-grandfather. I just struggled quite. It's been about 9 years since I've been Muslim, so it's been a very, very long road to get to where I am now. Becoming Muslim has by far been the best part of my whole life. I was born in London and was raised here, but my mom is American. All of my family on that side are pretty much Christian, specifically Catholic, Protestant, but not religious too much. And then my dad was born in the UK, but he is of Turkish Cypriot heritage. So on that side of my family, everyone's pretty much Muslim, but just not practicing at all. I always believed in God, but it seemed like something that was very abstract, and I kind of just compartmentalized it to something purely based on belief and that no action was required. I used to go to church a little bit when I was young with my grandfather who's English, step-grandfather. I just struggled quite a lot with the teachings and being at church. I just felt like I was always so impatient. I could never sit and listen, and nothing connected with me whatsoever. I felt that the services to me were like a very indirect relationship with God, and I couldn't quite get to God through the way that I was taught to practice religion. And then I also had issues with particular concepts like the concept of the Trinity, the role of Jesus, and even in prayer I felt that it was always so formal and I was never able to really feel much. I was always quite interested in Islam from a young age. My grandma, who is from a Muslim background, used to teach me and my brother a little bit about Islam, and I always found it really interesting. And whenever I'd hear someone saying something bad about Muslims or Islam, I'd always be wanting to defend the religion. And yeah, it felt like something that was great, but that just wasn't for me. It wasn't part of the life that I envisioned for myself. But one of the trips that I took to Cyprus, I used to go to Cyprus quite a lot, like every year, and see my dad there. And we have this small house in a village that's right overlooking a mosque. My grandfather actually used to teach at that mosque. I heard the call to prayer as I always did when I was there, and I felt really touched. I felt something. Saw you know, these men praying, and they were in prostration, and I at that point wasn't really like a strong believer, I'd say, in any way. In that moment I prayed and I said, God, please let me have that one day. I want to be able to pray like that. And I was crying. It just seemed like this thing in front of me, these people praying, was so unachievable for me. It was something that was so far removed that it just felt impossible, like it was a completely different life that I'd never have, but I so wanted to be a part of and to experience. So I took my Shahada one night by myself in my room. I think it was actually on Christmas Eve, or like a night before Christmas Eve. And it was such a special, intimate moment. I was so emotional, and it just felt like the best feeling to know that this is exactly where I was supposed to be. This was exactly what was planned for me. My modesty journey has also been quite a long one. I started dressing modestly even before I became Muslim, kind of like wearing a headscarf like around 24, 25, so quite a few years into my journey as a Muslim. It took me a long time. I have to say that it's insane to think what my life would be like now without Islam.